Hello everybody, this is Vicious, and welcome to The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, or in your case, you can call it Ocarina. I used to call it Ocarina, but everybody keep telling me it was Ocarina, so I don't know, I'm just gonna go with what I think, so Ocarina of Time. Anyway, time to name our character. We're gonna call him Link. We're gonna stick traditional with this one. Now, I wanted to play this game for a very long time actually, because it's one of my favorite games growing up as a kid. I played A Link to the Past, I played the original Legend of Zeldas, but this one I played the most. It's not my favorite. Link to the Past will always be my favorite Legend of Zelda, but this one, it holds a more precious memory for me. I remember spending days on end just playing this game constantly, and it's so much fun. It's so different from what we had on a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo. It was Zelda's first step into 3D, and it was just amazing. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of doing the child section of this game. It just seems kind of tedious, and you have to do it 20 times over again. Well, in my case, 20 times over again, because I was recently playing this game, and I lost my save file, so I had to start over again doing the child section. The child section seems a little bit tedious, and it's not always as exciting as you think it's going to be. So, not something very fun I had with, but nonetheless, a really fantastic game. So we get this opening cutscene here. Link's having this disturbing dream of watching some girl run away on a horse, and some evil man in black about to shoot something out of his hand at him. And then we are introduced to the most annoying character of the Legend of Zelda series, Navi. Now, Navi is a very interesting character. There are some people that love Navi, and there's tons of people that just outright hate Navi. I thought Navi was useful for some things. It was just really tedious when it came down to like telling you really dumb things you already know. Like, for instance, when you go through the first temple, she tells you how to open a door. I'm like, I get it. I know how to open a door. I see the button that says door, or in this case, open. Just like, I get it, Navi. You don't have to stop me every 5 seconds to tell me things. Now, sadly, the first half of this game is not very exciting. So you kind of have to just listen to the story, but I thought the story was really well done in this game. It kind of sucks that once you start the adventure, like once you start collecting the spiritual stones, the main plot of the game takes a back seat, and we don't see the main plot of the game until about after you get all 3 stones. So you just kind of have to, deal with the issues of the characters that you're helping to obtain these spiritual stones. Anyway, Navi's going to do her famous run into the wall gag. Fantastic job there, Navi. Yeah, just right there. I am playing this on the Wii Virtual Console, actually. I do have the Nintendo 64 version. It's just my Nintendo 64 version is iffy right now, because I'm not sure if the save battery is dead. It's just, I'm really concerned about it. So that's why I didn't want to do it on the Nintendo 64. I might be doing Majora's Mask on the N64, because I know that game works perfectly fine, but we'll get to that bridge when we cross it, because I do want to Let's Play Majora's Mask. I actually want to tackle at least every Legend of Zelda game that I can, minus the CDI game, because, in my opinion, they're not Legend of Zelda games. They're very bland and boring and unplayable and very expensive if you want to track down the actual console and the games themselves. I don't have that kind of money, and I'm not wasting it on a bunch of crappy games. So anyway, Navi here is going to tell us that we have to meet the Great Deku Tree, or Deku Tree, whatever you want to call it. It's just weird with this game. There's so many different, pronunciation with names. Like, everybody pronounces the name differently, so, like here, Kokiri Forest. I mean, pretty sure everybody calls it Kokiri Forest, but I don't know, maybe someone calls it differently. I remember calling it, God, I can't remember what I used to call it when I was a kid. Here we go. Hello, Saria. How's it going? Yes, I have a fairy. Oh, I'm going to come to hate this fairy. Well, it's like kind of like a love-hate relationship with me and the fairy. Yes, we are going to see the Great Deku Tree. This is exciting. Yes. Oh my god, Saria, you were just amazing. Now, the first thing we have to do, for those who haven't played this game before, we have to obtain at least 40 rupees and obtain the Kokiri Sword. Now, obtaining the Kokiri Sword is quite easy. but obtaining the 40 rupees is kind of a pain, just because you have to know exactly where all the 5 rupee pieces are located. But the first thing we're going to obtain first is... I said the first thing we're going to obtain first. What is wrong with me? Anyway, the Kokiri sword, which is in this little hole right here. This game's not challenging. It's not like Majora's Mask level challenging, where like the game doesn't tell you anything. It just kind of thrusts you into this world and tells you, hey look, go to these 4 locations, and that's it. And there's so many side quests in that game that just really throws you off. That was actually one of the big turn-outs I had of that game, but when I start Let's Playing that game, I'll talk more about Majora's Mask. But for now, we're talking about Ocarina of Time. And my phone just went off with the Link to the Past sound effect. Anyway, the Kokiri sword! Look how shiny it looks. Oh, so shiny. Too bad I'm going to mess this blade up, and then later on, it's just going to be pointless. Yeah, it's like a little dagger. So anyway, let's equip that Kokiri sword and move on. I kind of like the whole look of Link just having the sword on his back instead of the shield. I know the shield's very important, but just that look of having the sword, it just looks so much cooler to me for some reason. I don't know, maybe you guys think that too, but that's just my opinion. I always thought it was really cool that he did not have the shield at all. So we're crawling through this hole, no problem. Goodbye. Interesting things about this game is the expansion pack. Now, for those who don't know, there was supposed to be an expansion pack with this game on the failed N64DD. And I'm so happy I'm able to talk about this now, because the N64DD was such an interesting concept and has so many great ideas planned for it. And I was really excited for this thing too. I remember seeing it in Nintendo Powers, Gaming Magazine. I was hyped. I was crazy hyped for this. And one of the games that was going to be featured on the N64DD was Zelda. Or Zelda, I believe another Zelda, I believe it translated to. And what that would do was remix the dungeons. I mean, we did eventually get the remixed dungeons, which was Master Quest. But we never got the 2 extra temples it was going to add. It was going to add an Ice Temple and a Light Temple. And with those 2 temples, they're going to add new items to the game. And they had a lot of interesting other concepts going into the game itself. I believe like clock-based events. Well, not clock-based events, but clock-based things. Really interesting stuff. But I don't know. Zelda always intrigued me, and there was recently a fan project that kind of went under that was going to try to recreate Zelda. And I was really excited for this, because I was like, oh my god, someone's actually going to take the time and effort to create Zelda, because Nintendo just couldn't do it because the N64DD failed. It failed horribly. It only came out in Japan. I personally would love to own a Nintendo 64DD, but yeah, no, I cannot afford that kind of thing. And especially since you have to have a Japanese N64, plus the games are not very cheap. Plus, the only really good game on there is F-Zero X. And that's about it, because we never really got anything more exciting on it. Also, there's a little hidden rupee over here. So if you need something, check behind that little hole there. Anyway, Deku Shield. I seem to ramble on a lot when I talk about games, but this game's like very exciting for me to talk about. Because, like I said, I spent a lot of time playing this. Now, when it comes to this playthrough, I'm not sure I'm going to obtain every single heart container, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going for every gold Skulltula. I'm just going for the amount of gold Skulltulas I'm going to need for the Giant's Wallet, because that's one of the last important upgrades you can get from it. Getting all 100 gold Skulltulas is completely pointless. Trust me, it is the most pointless thing ever, and I have no idea why Nintendo decided for all 100 gold Skulltula, we're just going to give you more money, and by that point, you're probably maxed out on money. So do you actually need the extra rupees? No, it would have been awesome if they gave like a really cool item, or like an upgrade to something. That would have been awesome. But no, the whole 100 gold Skulltula thing is pointless. So anyway, that guy, I believe his name's Melon, he's a dick. Nobody likes him because he's just jealous that everybody loves you. Anyway, we get our first enemy of the game, Weather Deku Baba. Now, they're simple. Basically, cut them at the stem, and they drop Deku Sticks. Deku Sticks, Deku Stick, Deku Stick. I don't know. I just call them weird things, okay? Anyway, we get the Deku Stick. It's a very important item, actually. It's going to allow us to like torches, and it does a lot more damage than the actual sword. So if you want to be tricky, when you fight the first boss of this game, you can actually use that Deku Stick as your weapon, and it does a lot more damage than the sword. So a good lunge attack with it will do a lot of damage. I have seen speedrunners like go in and just one-shot Goma like it was nothing with the Deku Stick. It's insane. So never ever doubt the power of the Deku Stick. So anyway, here is the Great Deku Tree. Funny thing about this thing, I always thought the Deku Tree was a girl. Honestly, when I first played this game, I thought the Deku Tree was a girl. I was like, we're going to help her out, and then you find out a little bit later on, it's a guy. And I was like, oh, I'm terrible at this. But then again, you really can't tell if it's a boy or girl. I mean, it does have a kind of interesting mustache thing going on there. But I thought it was just a part of its mouth. I don't know, I was a kid, okay? Anyway, we're going into the gaping hole of the Deku Tree to try to break the curse within inside. And of course, the Deku Tree tells us to listen to Navi. Navi's helpful. I mean, the Z targeting thing is really awesome. She does give out some really helpful advice when playing through the game the very first time, but when you play through the game so many times, it becomes almost pointless. Because you know everything that has to do with the game. So anyway, we are inside the Great Deku Tree. A very exciting place. Not really. This is your first temple. Not very difficult. I remember playing this game for the first time and getting to the Deku Tree, and I had no idea how to get through it. I am not kidding. I remember sitting there, and I had no idea how to get past the Great Deku Tree. And I had no idea you had to climb to the top and jump through that spider web. I thought you had to at least light it up, or do something to it, or at least give you an item to get rid of the Deku. No, not the spider web, not Deku, anything. But the spider web. So it was really awkward for me at first, but eventually I did figure it out and figure out what I had to do. And so I was able to go through the game, and I had so much more fun after that. Like I said, with a lot of older games, they do have some sort of small learning curve that you have to learn everything, and you have to understand, you have to pay attention to your surroundings, and listen to the advice given to you. In this case, I did not listen to the advice given to me. For instance, there's a Deku Scrub that tells you how to, when you jump off high places, to roll. And not many people actually do that, and they just kind of take the damage. So anyway, we get our first big chest here, which just contains a map. Not very exciting. It is right in our face. What do you expect map? So yeah, that's the dungeon map of Inside the Great Deku Tree. That's actually what the dungeon is called, Inside the Great Deku Tree. So that's a little bit of knowledge. Not just a Deku Tree. So we can't climb up this vine yet because we are missing the item to take down those Skull Waltulas. Yeah, they're called Skull Waltulas. Anyway, this is the part I was talking about when Navi just explains how to open a door. I'm like, yes, I get it. It says open. So anyway, our first new enemy, the Deku Scrub. Oh, Deku Scrub. Super easy to get rid of. Basically, just pull your shield out, hold it up, and when the seed knocks off your shield, start moving towards the Deku Scrub, and you'll get it no problem. And every time you beat one of these down, they give you a little bit of advice. So in that case, that Deku Scrub gave us the advice when we jump off a high place, we can roll. Now, sadly, I was unable to actually play the 3DS version of this game yet. I really want to play the 3DS version of this, but money's just not been on my side recently. So hopefully, once I get everything figured out and everything's settled, I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna pick up the new 3DS XL. I'm gonna pick up Majora's Mask 3DS. I'm looking forward to playing that one because I found a new love for Majora's Mask. But when I start Let's Playing that game, I'll talk more about my newfound love of that game. So anyway, we get the Fairy Slingshot. This is a very important item of the game. This is going to allow us to take down those Skull Waltulas and also get it out of this little room. There we go. Also, if you climb up here, there's a chest that just contains a heart piece. Well, heart container, heart piece, just a heart. I don't know. Recovery heart. There we go. I forgot. So yeah, you just get a recovery heart. I always thought it was kind of weird when I first played this game that recovery hearts were in chests. Because usually in chests it would be like rupees or keys, or bombs, or arrows. Also, we get some Deku Seeds. Also, I love the fact that I have a rupee right next to floating Deku Seeds. Basically, that is the ammo for your fairy slingshot. I'm going to break my phone in about 5 seconds, guys. So moving along nicely here. Nothing too exciting to talk about. We actually make our way back out here, and we're going to climb up this wall, but first we take care of these skull vultulas. Also, I'm terrible at aiming. Funny thing is, when I was playing Majora's Mask, or actually any Zelda game that has to do with kind of the bow minigame or the slingshot minigame, my aiming sucks and I hate doing it. It takes me so many tries because my aiming is just terrible. Especially when I was using my N64 controller, which is kind of loose. So it's really hard to kind of gauge it the right way I want to. So that was the small problem I had. Anyway, another new enemy type we deal with, Skulltulas himself. Not a Skullvultula, but actual just Skulltulas. These guys are a tad bit annoying. Basically, they'll just block your way. That's the whole purpose of a Skulltula, is to block your way. Right there, you just walk right by them. Also, our first Gold Skulltula. And when you kill a Gold Skulltula, they drop a token. Now get all 100 of these, and you get a nice little prize, which is pointless. Also, another recovery heart in the chest, which I still think is weird. This guy's having a field day right now. He's just getting down. He's like, yo, head bop in there. So yeah, we actually have to cross over this way. To be honest, we really don't need to cross over this way. I believe it's just a compass over here. But we do it anyway. Because I'm going to at least get everything in the dungeon. I'm going to try to get all upgrades that I possibly can. I haven't really decided if I'm going for all heart pieces, just because some of them are kind of tedious. And they require you to go back and forth through time. Planting seeds. Oh, I always hated that about this game, was the seed planting. In other Legend of Zelda games, heart pieces would just be in like certain locations. In this game, you have to plant seeds to get to certain locations, and it's just tedious, and it requires you to run back and gain more money, and buy more seeds, and run back to the area you have to plant them. It's really tedious. Now, I'm pretty sure not many people enjoyed that aspect of this game. And I'm pretty sure nobody really enjoyed the Skulltula aspect of this game when they figured out what happens when you obtain all 100 Gold Skulltulas. I'll maybe do like an off video just to show you. So yeah, hop down here, break through the web, and we are now in a new area. First, we have to grab another Gold Skulltula hanging up the wall. But first, let's take care of this Deku Baba. Goodbye. So yeah, Deku Babas you can also kill to pick up Deku sticks off of them, so... I'm just going to call him Deku. I keep switching it up. I don't know why. I'm going to just call it Deku, because that's what I'm used to calling it. I know people are going to say it's Deku, or it's whatever. I call it Deku. So. Anyway, we got another Skulltula token. Got to pick up some hearts. That part's a tad bit tricky if you're not paying attention to the ground. Not really. Just, like I said, just pay attention. Also, there's another Gold Skulltula to grab. First, we're going to lay off this torch. Also, there's a chest there that just contains, I think, either a recovery heart or a rupee. Don't really have to worry about it. I think I skipped it. So this can be a little tricky to get at first. Just jump off right there. If you're not entirely sure you're going to reach it, try to roll and jump, and you're almost guaranteed to get it. I remember playing it for the first time and thinking I had to come back here with the boomerang and grab it. I was like, man, I have to have some sort of way to grab it. I thought you couldn't grab it, because usually in games like this, they kind of screw you out. Also, another Deku Scrub. Super easy. Come over here. Simple as that. So this Deku Scrub here tells you something a little more interesting. There are 3 Deku Scrubs that are coming up that you have to beat within a certain order. Now, this thing is so easy to remember, and it's stuck in my head for so many years, it's insane. The thing is, like I said, it's 23 is number 1. 2, 3, 1. It's always 2, 3, 1. It never changes whatsoever. I know in other Legend of Zelda games, they try to change up the order of certain things. Like, for instance, Majora's Mask with the Bomber's Notebook code. Yeah, so... It's easy. It's just 23 is number 1. Just remember that, and you'll be fine. So we get our first instance of diving underwater. This was another new feature they added to this Legend of Zelda game. since we're going to the 3D route, let's have some diving mechanics. Now, not my favorite thing to do in this game. There's a diving minigame coming on later on that I wasn't the biggest fan of, but as the years went by, it just became super easy. My first time doing it, though, it was kind of a pain. It really depends on where he throws the rupees at, but when we get to that point, well, I'll talk about it a little bit more. So anyway, more Skulltulas, because they just are there. I wonder if you can actually push the block and just kill it. Or if it comes down at all, so. Anyway, Navi's going to tell us how to push a block by pushing the A button. Yes, the A button. Thank you, Navi. You are a most wonderful person. Now, there are so many incarnations of this game out there now. There's the N64 version, there's the GameCube version. Actually, there's two GameCube versions you can get. You can either get the Master Quest edition, which comes with Ocarina of Time and Master Quest. I actually have that one. Or the Collector's edition that came with the original Legend of Zelda 2, Link's Adventure, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. So, and then plus you have the 3DS version, you have the Wii Virtual Console version. Yeah, just all over the place. You ever feel like you haven't played this game? There are numerous ways to play this game. I would highly recommend you picking up the 3DS version because if you're that kind of person that enjoys graphics, that's your thing. I personally love just the old field graphics. A lot of people will tell me that the N64 is really outdated and just not fun to play anymore, but I still have so much fun playing the console. I still go back and play it to this day. I'm currently trying to collect a bunch of N64 games that I just love. Some of them a little more difficult to get. Anyway, we get a Goma larva. Stupidly easy. You're not really going to see much of a Goma larva. After this temple, after this dungeon, actually it's not temples yet, but after this dungeon, you're never going to see a Goma larva ever again, because once again, it's Goma. Now, that door right there, I have no idea what's there. I never once decided to come back down and check. Now, I'm pretty sure it's probably something stupid, or it could just contain a heart piece, or a gold Skulltula. Probably going to assume it's something dumb or a gold Skulltula, because there are no heart pieces in this dungeon whatsoever. There's only a heart container that you get for being the boss. Also, the camera angle was so friendly right there. And also, we're going to take care of these Deku Babas. Pick up some accoutrements. There we go, some Deku nuts. They're kind of important. I mean, they're kind of useful in this one. I'm going to break my phone in about 5 seconds here. So moving along just nicely here. Gonna push this block out of the way like it's nothing. There we go. Not too difficult. Not really. I've been talking a lot during this episode, which I'm trying to do a lot more of. Trying to be more talkative instead of just going silent for things. Also, just rolling out with the lighted torch, or lighted Deku stick. And you're all set. Now hop down here. Also, if you need a heart recovery heart, yeah, let's call it a heart piece again, a heart container. But a recovery heart, and you're good to go. Also, these are the 3 brothers you have to beat. So there's 2, 3 is over here. Also, this is really cool how I do this one. I get 1 seed shot from the first one, and somehow it just reflects off my shield and hits the other one. So once again, use the same trick I taught you before. Let's Scrub hit you with his nut, and then move in really close on him. So this Deku Scrub will teach you how to beat the boss of the dungeon, to deliver the coup de grace. So basically, while she's stunned, remember it's in red, while she's stunned, aim for her eye. So in this case, you can actually just throw a Deku Nut, which will stun her, or shoot her in the eye when she's climbing up with the fairy slingshot. This boss is stupid easy. If you ever have any trouble in this boss, just rethink yourself for a little bit, because there are so many ways to beat this boss. There's so many ways to stun her. Yeah, just go to town. I've seen people just completely one-cycle her like it's nothing. So anyway, look up to the sky, and there she is, Queen Goma. The Armored Arachnid. The Parasitic Armored Arachnid. So yeah, shoot in the eye, and wail. Also, you can use a Deku Nut to stun it as well, isn't that fun? In this case, I'm going to show you when she climbed up there, wait for her eye to turn red, and then you shoot it down with the fairy slingshot once more. But you have to wait till her eye's red, because it won't work when her eye's yellow, because she's just going to armor herself up. There you go, see? Over here. A good jumping attack will do a lot of damage too, and I love the position I have here for throwing on her. Like, it's just easy. There you go, guys. That is Queen Goma and the inside of the Great Deku Tree Dungeon. Super easy. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm looking forward to doing this whole entire Let's Play. We're going to pick up that fancy heart container, and we're going to move on to the cutscene. Anyway, guys, I am Vicious, and I will see you all later. Have a great day.